Here, while the starter gets out of the way there and up onto his little box. Well, the African dominance not as established perhaps in the women's event as it is in the men's, but a new country is racing now, South Africa, and with Alana Meyer and Zola Peters, the former Zola Bud, in their ranks, anything can happen. The Africans, though, very, very strong, of course. Daratu Tulu is the Olympic 10,000 meters champion, the Ethiopian. She's in this field. Here, while the starter gets out of the way there and up onto his little box. Well, the African dominance not as established perhaps in the women's event as it is in the men's, but a new country is... Here, while the starter gets out of the way there and up onto his little box. Well, the African dominance not as established perhaps in the women's event as it is in the men's, but a new country is racing now, South Africa, and with Alana Meyer and Zola Peters, the former Zola Bud, in their ranks, anything can happen. The Africans, though, very, very strong, of course. Daratu Tulu is the Olympic 10,000 meters champion, the Ethiopian. She's in this field. And Meyer and Peters, both, of course, come under the African banner. And then the Kenyans mustn't be discounted. Esther Kiplagat has raced long and hard this winter and is very high up in the World Cross Challenge rankings. This is the 14th and final event of the IAAF Cross Challenge. It's an event which culminates here, and there are double points up for grabs here to these athletes. Instead of 25 for first, 22 for second, there are 50 for first and 44 for second, and so on down. But that almost irrelevant with the excitement of this as the winter season comes to a climax. The Kenyans very much to the fore there, as you can see. Start of this race is renowned for being fast and furious. 3:35 there. Zola Peters goes across the screen. Zola Peters, now back in the South African colours, of course, is running for England back in the mid-80s, and indeed won this title in 1985 and 1986 for England, and has started off very fast and aggressively here. The word is that she is in great form, Zola Peters. Only recently as she left her coach, Peter Lambuschagne, for the second time, and, well, maybe the change has refreshed her. Already that arrowhead formation very evident, and I can see Paula Radcliffe, the young British woman, up in about 6th place at the moment. She won the World Junior title last year at Boston in this event, and here still only at the age of 19, competing in the women's senior team for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Zola Peters is then, who leads. 26 years old now, Peters, looking very, very comfortable and composed there at the front of this field. They've got to sort themselves out yet. I can see Bondarenko in there as well, a Russian who was great in years gone by, Olympic champion in 1988 over 10,000 meters. And as I said, Tulu, the current Olympic champion, is also in there. And I can also see Katarina McKiernan going through, the Irish girl who leads the World Cross Challenge rankings, has had a fabulous winter to back up her dominance of the Cross Challenge last winter, although her summer in between, which of course included those Olympic Games, was disappointing. Lynn Jennings going through there in the dark glasses, the reigning champion, the American woman who took her 3rd consecutive title last year. That hat-trick, very special for her, as it was in Boston on home soil, of course. Suzanne Rigg goes through, the British champion. But this is interesting. Zola Peters here, setting out immediately her stall for the others to see, and it's a catch-me-if-you-can policy from her. Further back down the field, everybody else struggling with this early pace. It really is unique, the World Cross Country Championships, and in the demands it makes upon athletes. Just about always these races are fast and furious from the gun. No hanging around, no tactics. Somebody out of all those athletes, remember, it's a gathering of the world's top distance runners. Somebody out of that field is keen to get out and run fast every year. This year, at this stage at least, it's Zola Peters. And I can see Alana Meyer, her teammate, moving up well also, up in the first half dozen. This course is very fast and flat. As I said, 3 laps of around 2 kilometers. They, in fact, had to put in man-made obstacles. There's a couple of small hills which are man-made. You just saw them leaping over that rather poor excuse for a hedge. And this, the leading group, Noah of Switzerland also up there, but I don't think she will be for long. Cheramai of Kenya and Jane and Goto, both very strong indeed. But Peters at this stage, I almost called her Bud there, with about a 5 or 7 metre lead from her teammate Alana Meyer, who's moved through into second. Meyer it is, of course, who took the silver medal in the Olympic Games 10,000 metres, placed third in the Durham World Cross Challenge in the northeast of England just after the new year. But she too, along with Peters, as we understand it, the word from South Africa is both of them in great form. No sign of Tulu yet, the Olympic 10,000 champion. We understand she's had a knee injury for the last 2 weeks, and the Ethiopian team, just to make matters worse, were delayed on the way to northern Spain in Athens. They were stranded there, apparently. Unfortunately, we won't be able to bring you pictures of the junior races, junior women and men. The junior women's race was won by Gladys Ondeo of Kenya, and their team won easily. First British athlete home was Sharon Murphy in 29th place, and the British team was only 9th in the junior women. In the junior men, Philip Mosima of Kenya won easily, with his teammates in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Those were the 4 scorers. Perfect score from the Kenyans. First UK athlete was Christian Stevenson in 28th, and the British team were a disappointing 11th in that junior men's race. But back to this now. Interesting camera angle there as the field closes up a bit on Zola Peters here. 1:02 there. That's Marina Denboba of Ethiopia, not Deratu Tulu. Some of you may think she looks like the Olympic 10,000 champion, but it's not. Very, very similar in build and the way she runs. Now that's interesting. And there's Paula Radcliffe, the long flowing blonde hair to the right there. The young Briton has got herself right up there in a good position. All the big names up there. You can see Jennings, the reigning champion, in the dark glasses just to left of picture. McKiernan in the green of Ireland up in the first 4 there. McKiernan wearing number 186 right in the centre of that pack. 2:03 to the right of that group. That's Dandolo of Italy. And Albertina Dias, 3rd or 4th from the left there, the Portuguese, who is 2nd in the cross-challenge standings so far this winter. Has had a very, very strong, consistent winter.